Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the beautiful circuit of Indianapolis Motor Speedway for now another round of the fantastic, the one, the only, everywhere you want to be on a Sunday night. Welcome to the Indianapolis for round 5 of the Evolution Racing Academy Sunday Championship. We're in for an absolute cracker of a race where some of the best drivers around the world going to duke it out in some proper nose-to-tail action. That being said, though, we are going to be seeing a proper turn of events here as the championship is getting closer and closer to a close. 7 rounds in this championship. We're on round 5, and it's all about scoring those major points, and what better way to do it than here at the Indianapolis as we gear up for the Indy 500 happening this coming weekend. Yes, you heard me right. Indianapolis 500. So we're taking homage to that by having the beautiful Indianapolis out on the likes of ACC. This is one of the newest circuits that got brought out to ACC. Now, lots of concern coming into turn 1 as it tightens up on the drivers. So going double file through there does make things rather tricky. Make sure that you try and keep to the inside line. Don't get squashed too much against that inside, otherwise you're going to lose out a lot of time. Moving away, turn 2, turn 3, long sweeps that come through into turn 6, a long sweeping left-hander that allows you to really feed the power on. Lots of runoff room if you run into trouble before a short right into turn 7. A quick long straightaway to utilize as much aerodynamics to get into the slipstream, pull yourself before climbing on the anchors. Don't look to the first road. Aim for the second of the left-handers that's within your sight. It's all flat road, and that's what makes it rather tricky to outbrake yourself. Maneuvering away through turn 9 to turn 10, a little bit of a snake as you head into turn 11. Heading on to the oval, powering your way through all the way down hard on the anchors at the 200-meter mark into a sharp right-hand corner. Very reminiscent of what turn 1 was before you accelerate through into turn 13 and 14. On your powering on, you need to just get yourself geared up and ready as you head on to the main oval. And that is where most of the Formula Ones that used to race here at Indianapolis landed up having their tires absolutely decimated and landed up with only 6 cars on the grid starting. Who can ever forget about that? The battle between Dunlop and Michelin came to an end during this race here in Indianapolis. But we're going to have a lot of GT racing here tonight that is looking to really power their way on. Taking a look at the drivers' standings, it is Christoph Peterson who will be leading out the pack for the Diamonds, with Ben Hicks 10 points behind him. Jens Elson running 3rd of our Diamonds, followed by Ernest Lundbriggs in 4th. David Schutten in 5th place, Jason Farmer in 6th, Glenn Smith in 7th, Sean Skitter in 8th, 9th place is Mahaith Musa, along with Ruan Heineke, Stephen Milano, James Camille Hassan, Teddy Blonder, and Thomas Morton going and rounding out the pack. Taking a look at our Platinum, so it's David Brodsky in 1st place, with Martin Spritzer in 2nd place, Lucas Collab in 3rd, Paul Fenter in 4th, Tom Maloney now in 5th place on 33 points, looking to go after Paul Fenter on 37, 1 point off Lucas Collab on 38, Martin Spritzer on 41, David Brodsky on 45. Sebastian Luxon in 6th place on 26 points. Lewis Knight on 22. Nico Lawrence 1 point behind. He's on 21 points, with Christian Fengler in 9th, 1 point behind. Chris Wall, after a phenomenal race last weekend, is lying in 10th with 17 points. He's got Flo Scub in 11th. Christoph Rolotsky, Hanso Foss, Richard Fanieta, Nicholas Cora, Scott Reynolds, Sebastian Robson, and Freddie Morelli. Taking a look at our golds, because it's been incredibly tight. Miles Stone leads out the pack, only 2 points away from Marco Virgo in 2nd place. David Roth in 3rd, John Spriggs in 4th, Ulrich Diaga, Flint Van Holland, Aaron Schegel, David Young, Nicholas Porras, Federico Calgero, Cedric Muir, Patrick Bowles, Matt Medicine, Finley Gamble, and Gerrit van Vuren going and rounding out the pack as we get ready for qualifying And it's going to be a big one for all our drivers to try and pull in those quick lap times to score themselves the best that they can be. Now, we did talk about the driver championship. Let's talk about the big elephant in the room here, our team championship that has been, well, rather exciting. ERA Highway Patrol leading out the pack on 203 points, with Cyber Racing Miltech in second, Griffin Sim Racing in third. The South African team trying to take it out to all the way to our internationals, and Stunt Possum Racing in fourth. Been having a great time. They're on 145 points, but not too far away is Cyber Racing Araska on 142. Logistical Nightmare Racing slipping down the order into sixth place on 141 points. Then we got Black Lung Bandits, followed by the Pedal Files, who is doing on 107. Track Tool Team tying up the points with Los Pontos Hermanos on 97 points. Wise Racing in 11th on 94. Los Pontos Hermanos also in 12th place with 74 points as they go down. Manufacturers leading out, though, is Ferrari with 431. Lamborghini on 202. And Mercedes in third with 190 points. That being said, we're going to cut on over to our qualifying and see some of the action that goes through. Nicholas Cora, though, will be sitting out of qualifying due to a penalty that was received. So he is going to have to wait it out with the rest of the competition and watch as they all drive by and get past on it. So that being said, we are getting ourselves ready to rock and roll, waiting for Tim to cut over the cameras, and we will be in for some fun here at Indianapolis. So jumping over to our race, and there it is. Everyone geared up to go and starting to take their way onto the track. Nicholas Cora staying in pit lane as we make ourselves out on the circuit. David Borchke in out on the track with Ben Hicks fighting out. But we also got to talk about the big one in the room. We have got cameras that are inside the cars to keep an eye out on the drivers. And a big shout out to those drivers for all that they've managed to do, allowing our cameras to be put in. So, with that being said, first one out is Tom Malami, which he will be up on screen, and you can see him with that Mazda R5 and the KS wheel. And there is Tom Malami keeping it all in check as he pies his way through. He's looking for a good result to try and launch his way up through the order. Ernest Lumbriggs down in 21st position at the moment is our next driver who's looking to power his way through in that 488 Ferrari. And he will be on the charge trying to get a podium position this time around and will be looking for the top running order. Last of our cameras out on the circuit is the likes of Chris Wall. Paul the Wall is going and watching. Chris Wall will be taking this Mustang to the front and hoping to recreate some of the racing action he had before with the Fanatec podium steering wheel. By the looks of it, he's got the Fanatec Formula steering wheel with the podium attachment. It allows him for the gears. Always fantastic to go and see those on boards and also seeing what type of gear that the drivers are utilizing here in the beautiful circuit and here at ERA. It's at the Brickyard. It is going to be exciting. It's going to be a one and great. But we're talking about the Brickyard. We've got to go and bring in some of that beautiful, sweet symphony from the cars as they make their way around the circuit. And a massive, massive welcome to you all out there in the virtual grandstand. We've got Scott Reynolds and along with Antonio Gamble going and saying, President saying good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Glad to have you here. It's so fantastic to have all the incredible action here at ERA, and also fantastic to be online with you guys. So, coming across the line to start their laps, Ben Hicks leads out the pack with a 1:35.4, and Marco Virgo coming in with that second place. Unfortunately, David Borchke going and taking that away, running a 1:35.9 as he puts the hammer down, trying to get as much pace as he can early on in the laps, hoping to really make a big impact here. And this is where it's going to get rather interesting for the drivers to just knuckle down, focus on what they need to do and try and power their way through. And the likes of David Borschke running in third, David Schutten looking to put up towards the top in the ERA Highway Patrol, will be fighting his way out. And Ernest Lundbriggs immediately coming across the line, puts in a top time with a 1:35.3, and that gets beaten out by Christoph Peterson, our retaining champion, who is looking to once again put a big one on the board, saying, come on, let's really put the hammer down. Let's see what you guys can do. How far are you willing to push the limits of what you need to do? And that is where it's going to get rather exciting for many of the drivers, having to dig deep on what they need to do to stay in the front of the pack. Ernest Lundbriggs, though, will be trying to do everything he can. Sean Skitter up into 5th place. He has been on a bit of an up and down record at the moment. Sometimes it's worked out for him, other times it just hasn't actually worked out for him. So he's hoping to really make this impact, try and bring back some of the pace that he had in a couple of the races. And he will be hoping to make it work for him this time round. That being said, though, easier said than done around the Indianapolis circuit, where drivers are going to have to really try and push that a little bit more, see if it's going to come out in the best of their favor, and we'll be looking to try and push a bit further up in the road. So Sean Skitter trying to put a time on the board that will keep him in the top 10. Paul Fenter behind Chris Wall as 8th and 9th respectively. Nico Lawrence also doing a great bit of time, trying to pick up the pace, see where it's all going to work out for him. Nico Lawrence has been trying to push a little bit harder this season round. A 134 by Christoph as a quick flash of lights to our American drivers that are going and riding out in that green, white, blue, going and having a phenomenal pace. The 488 has been an absolute monster out on the circuit, and drivers been pushing to try and get it sorted out. Always a difficult car for everyone. We're hoping to see more and more drivers just see where it's going to work out for them. How far are they willing to go? That is the question for the drivers as they continue on the hard charge up through the field. We'll keep an eye on all the monster racing to come here at ERA. And where is it going to end up? That is the question for many of these drivers. How far are they willing to push it? As Christoph Peterson is content with his lap, he will wait for yet another go. David Schutten comes across 3rd place, can't go any higher than that. Ernest Lundbriggs, Miles Stone has had a great run out there for the Stunt Possum Racing Stang, and looking to really push as hard as he can. He's in the top 5, but wanting that top 3. The Mustang has been incredibly strong here at the circuit, and he wants that to continue to be the fact as he tries to push on. Sean Skitter lying in 7th as David Roth going and putting a time on the board, gets himself into the top 5. Ernest Lundbriggs moves himself up into 4th, and continues on. Lewis Knight in 11th position, trying to go after Spriggs. Now, do remember, we have got 3 different classes racing. The white bordered is our diamonds, the silver is our platinums, and then the golds are the red bordered. And so far, Miles Stone leading out the golds. Tomo Malami is leading out the platinums with Chris Wald right behind him. And for David Roth, who's in 7th, he needs to catch up to Miles Stone at the moment, who is a little bit further up the road and continuing to open up the distance at this point. So he's got to keep a very close eye on how they're going to go. It's amazing that the gold drivers have really been digging in deep to push a little bit more. Stephen Milana James across the line, putting in a absolute banger of a 134.8 as he goes and powers his way through, and will be looking to push on a little bit further more than that for the Cyber Racing, and only 0.005 off our leading time of a 34.8 by Christoph Peterson. Ernest Lundbriggs, though, tried picking up the pace and unfortunately outbraked himself into the polystyrene. David Schutten trying to warm up those tires on the way through. Jens Nelson, got to remember, he is one of the championship contenders, looking to really fight his way, and he's down in 8th at the moment. David Roth in 9th, will be pushing as hard as he can to keep away from John Spriggs, who's now in 13th, as Tom Malami, David Walshke, Chris Wall, all getting ahead of him. So John Spriggs will be trying to keep on the power. He has got the likes of Lewis Knight, the former gold champion, to duke it out with, and Sebastian Ribsam going and making his way through in 15th. Then we got Paul Scovers, one of the newer drivers into the lot. And Paul Scovers going and making his debut here at Indianapolis. And especially for the gold division, he is also one of the newer names that's popped up. Didn't have him last time. That's good to have him here. Going and jumping up from our silvers in Server 2. Ruben Heineke going across the line with Christian Fengler of the Track Tool team. Nico Lawrence, Marco Vergo. A little bit further down, Paul Fenter trying to get to the grips with the car. Aaron Shingle a little bit further down the order than he would like, followed by Patrick Miles, Finn Holland, Federico Calgero also on a bit of a climb up through it all. And we've got Kara van Vuren, Ulrich Diaga, Nicholas Porras, Blake Moore out on track for the EBM team, bouncing around off those curbs, not too happy on the way through, trying to find any grip possible. Finley Gamble in 32nd. Hanzo Voss, Martin Spritzer, Rob van der Heever waiting in the pits, and Nicholas Cora, who is going to be starting stone dead last, unfortunately, with a penalty from the previous race. Big welcome once again to all you in the virtual grandstand. We do have Alma going and saying welcome, and good to see a good number of new faces, not only just out on the track, but also out there in the virtual grandstands, joining us in for it to have a bit of fun. Liam Swinburne going and saying he's looking forward to the racing as it all goes on. Christoph Peterson leads out. Sean Skitter up into third. Will try and push on as Christoph Peterson putting in the fastest lap time yet again this time round with a 1:34.7 as he launches his way through here at Indianapolis. Ben Hicks has not had any rebuttal, putting a wheel wrong, unfortunately, moving out of the way for the Track Tool team Lamborghinis as they blast on by. Milestone in the top 5 as a gold driver. That is an absolutely incredible one, followed by Ernest Lindbergs and Tomo Malami going and rounding out into 7th position, starting first of our platinums out on the circuit, which is absolutely mental to think about. 3 minutes left of the qualifying, and still drivers trying to dig deep of where they need to go. How hard are they willing to push to launch their way back up through the order? That is the question. How far can you keep going? And for the ERA Highway Patrol, they need to worry about it. For Ernest Lindbergs at the moment, he is going to be really digging deep, focusing on the charge, not wanting to lose out any bit of time at the moment, and it will be going and putting an immense amount of concentration to keep it together. He's got a bit of traffic ahead of him to deal with, and how is he going to clear the cars quickly? You'll notice that he's actually using one of the round rims instead of the usual formulas that everyone tends to go for, especially for GT3 cars. He just tries to get himself a little bit more comfortable in the car and also utilize everything he can. Quick touch on the buttons just to make sure that everything is good, setting himself up as he comes across, able to jump up into third place ahead of Sean Skitter to try and get rid of that teammate running of Sean Skitter and Christoph Peterson. So Ernest Lundberg's going to be rather happy on that one as he powers his way through. So drivers trying to make their way on, and Jens Nelson immediately booting him off that third place with a great time, and now waiting to go out. Milestone down into 7th position, a lot closer to Tomo Malami at the moment. Still leads out the golds, but Marco Vergo and David Roth will be trying to get the run up on him and hoping to go and claw their way into the time. And we just getting told that we have a game crash for one of the drivers. So he's trying to get himself sorted out and will be going out once again. Bit of an unfortunate amount for having the cars going and having a game crash. For anyone that hasn't experienced it, the game just completely freezes. It then just goes out and you have a tough time. Already back. Good to hear. So always a difficult one for drivers to deal with, but it does happen. Counts as mechanical error in that regard. And, well, sometimes mechanical error can make life very, very interesting. Yep, Miles is the gold driver. And, well, at this point in the Stang, the Stunt Possum Racing Stang is showing its legs here at Indianapolis. I mean, V8, America, you've got it all. You've got an American driver, American car on an American circuit. But Christoph Peterson, once again with the fastest lap time, a 1:34.67, as he puts in yet another banger, opening up the difference between himself and Stephen Milano James and Jens Nelson as well. 24 seconds to go, and it's all to play for here. Miles down on his lap, unable to improve, will be waiting out. Chris Wall currently 0.4 of a second up on his personal best, and he is trying to carry that through. Along with Martin Spritzer, 0.2 up on his personal best. Aaron Schigel was up 0.1 of a best, and Hanso Foss, the only Bentley in both splits, currently down in 34th position, trying to find a bit of pace. He is 0.4 up on his personal best. It should jump him up a little bit in the order to see if he can take the fight. Sean Skitter, 0.1 up on his personal best. So is Ben Hicks at the moment, as they utilize as much of the circuit as possible. It's quite narrow in the infield and touching the dirt on the inside, unfortunately taking him out of the running there. Sean Skitter unable to improve, will be in 5th. Ben Hicks hoping to put some power down the line. Is it going to be enough for him when he comes across the line? Nope, unfortunately, we'll have to lock in that 6th place. David Schutten hoping to utilize a little bit of a tow here from one of the 2ID Ferraris as he carries his way through. Hard on the brakes at the 200-meter board, swings it in off the oval, through the infield, and just as he gets onto the other side, he's hoping for it all to work out for him and not to be caught out. It is all on the 2ID to make it work. On the way through, Christoph Peterson bettering his last lap time as he comes across, and here comes David Schutten, unable to improve. Miles Stone out in 8th place is on in personal best as he's trying to give it everything he's got to move up in the order, try and get back that top 5. 0.1 of a second. Is it going to be enough when he comes across the line? Currently leading out all those other than Plat and Diamonds, and he does get it into 3rd place. Miles Stone has upset the entire apple cart in one fell swoop. He is now back in for some great racing. My heavens, that is going to change things up for all the teams. Miles Stone, a gold driver, has just gone and upset the entire apple cart in 3rd place. Christoph Peterson will lead out the pack, 134 right the way through to 5th place. All running 134s from 6th all the way through till the likes of 15th. Running 135s and going further down, the rest of the teams running into the 136s. 36 cars are to start this race here at Indianapolis for round 5 of the championship after coming off the back of a 6-hour endurance race this time round, and that is going to be a big running. And I can tell you that there's been lots of excitement coming in, and guys are busy talking about Miles' time. You know, guys like Gerrit van Vuren saying, there's water in those tires, check them out. That can't be right. I mean, that is so close. Then the likes of Chris Wall saying, hang on, there's something on. How on earth did you manage to get that car all the way to the top? Ruben Heineke jumping into the chat and saying, let's go Griffin Sim Racing team. One of the Griffin Sim Racing drivers doing an absolute great time out there, and a well done to them. They've been on a stellar drive, coming off racing not only the endurance race yesterday, but they also did a Porsche Cup around Bathurst in the rain to then come into a fight here at ERA tonight around Indianapolis, where the temperature at the moment is 21 degrees Celsius. So it's absolutely just beautiful to contend with at the moment. And that is what many of the drivers saying. They are enjoying the conditions here at Indianapolis. Not too hot, not too cold. 1 hour's worth of racing and tons of racing here to come at ERA. So as we get ready to rock and roll, we're going to head back down to the track. And there it is. The beautiful circuit lined up with our cars all ready to go. Christoph Peterson leading out the pack will have Stephen Milano James, and for the first time ever, having Miles Stone right on the back of him. So if you're just joining us for the first time, you're not quite sure how on earth these success penalties work. And yes, they're called success penalties. Let me take you through it because it is quite a bit of fun. And once you get the method around it and why it actually exists, you'll find it works really well for you. So if you come in first place in the last race, you score 15 seconds, success penalty. That brings you back into the field. You serve that during your pit stop. Second place, 10 seconds. Third place, 5 seconds. That's to help bring the racing back into it. And you're going to have to use your head a little bit of how to do your pit stop and go and help yourself with the time loss as well. Now, that is something that not many leagues racing around the world tend to do. But here at ERA, we love to teach. We love to see how it all works. And it does bring the racing a lot closer. For the likes of Christoph Peterson, who's used to legging it at the front and being a multiple champion, I think 5 times round now, well, he's going to have to think about that 15 seconds penalty in his pit stop, which means, do you put tires on? Do you not put tires on? Do you go and how much fuel do you take on board? That all adds up and brings everything a lot closer and brings a different dynamic to the racing. Now remember, the big penalty came in for Nicholas Cora, who starts in last place as he had a quali ban for an incident that happened. So he's going to have to work his way up. And considering he's one of the quicker drivers, he's going to have to try and climb through all the golds before he gets to the top end of the field. He's going to be hunting down to try and make up some time to Tomo Malami in 9th place. 36 cars and opportunities here at Indianapolis where drivers can move forward, either gain and go. This is where it's going to be exciting. I mean, this is going to be through the back markers, most probably, as drivers will have to contend with that. Indianapolis is a circuit that you either get right or you get wrong. You're either used to the circuit or you don't. Personally, I know how to hit the wall here in the infield and how to miss the circuit completely in the infield. But if you get to race at the Brickyard and seeing the Indianapolis 500 this coming weekend, all the drivers are going to be thinking about what do they need to do to get on the ovals to maintain the speed. Going back into the early 2000s, we had talked about the F1s going and having that Michelin and Dunlop battle where the tires were dropping off on the Michelins and they landed up going and pulling a whole lot of the cars off the circuit. Well, here with the Pirellis on these cars, they're able to retain a good amount of heat before they let go. So the drivers will take that into consideration of how much graining can the tires take before it all starts running out. So, Christoph Peterson for bad brains, and well, he's definitely got a bad brain, going and putting himself right up in the front. He will have the advantage on the inside line when they get going. Stephen Milano-James will be lining up on the left-hand side of him. We'll have an outside. He's going to have to quickly sweep it back. Otherwise, Miles Stone will be in there for the fight on the way through. You'll also see Marco Vergo getting a 25 seconds. So that's on top of his original penalty, success penalty. He's got 25 seconds to contend with. Christoph Peterson leading out the field. And with that being said, folks, let's take a look to our field and see who is starting where. So for the ERA Sunday Championship, look no further. Christoph Peterson will lead out the pack with Stephen Milano-James, Miles Stone, Ernest Lundbergs, along with Jens Nelson, Sean Skitter in 6th, Ben Hicks in 7th place with David Schutten, Tomo Malami, David Roth in 10th. And we've got Marco Vergo, Martin Spritzer, Sebastian Riverson, David Broschke, Lewis Knight, Richard van Heerde, Jason Farmer, Nico Lawrence going and running out in 18th. John Spriggs in 19th with Paul the Wall Fenter in 20th. Had a chat to him a little bit earlier today. Wasn't too confident. He even got to say that live on the mic, going and commentating about Bathurst in LNR, which, well, talk about going and splitting your mind up the whole way through. Chris Wall in 21st with Paul Skivers in 22nd. First time out racing here in Server 1. And I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do. Finley Gamble of the 2ID team in 23rd, followed by Finn van Hollen. Bryn Heineke in 25th. Christian Fingler in 26th. Patrick Bowles in 27th, Federico Calgero, Aaron Schenkel, along with Hanso Voss, Nicholas Porras, Ulrich de Jager in 32nd, Gerrit van Vuren, along with Blake Moore, Rob van der Heever, and Nicholas Cora, rounding out the pack. So, some great racing to be built up, some great racing to be seen. Lots and lots of pressure for the championship. 7 rounds in the championship. And so far, we are in round 5. So it's all or nothing. 1 hour worth of racing, 1 mandatory pit stop needed by all the drivers. Do you take tires? Do you leave it on the line? What are you going to do? What's those tire pressures going to look like? How much graining are you going to get on the circuit? And where are you willing to test the limits? First time out for Milestone, up into the top 3. And now there is crucial pressure to keep it going, as he doesn't want to have David Roth and Marco Verga have a go at him. And he doesn't want Tomo Malami, who's down in 9th place. Coming off the oval, it back into the infield. All the cars will be getting ready, slowing the pace down, 70 kilometers an hour. And it is going to be a very, very difficult time for these drivers to try and push their way through, focus on the charge. Where are they going to get the climb? Christoph Peterson will be looking for that jump up in the order. Pressure starting to mount. Stephen Milana James in 2nd place. Gets himself ready for the cyber racing as they come back onto the oval. And ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, get ready as it's biggity, 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 biggity. Let's go racing here at Indianapolis. 1 hour worth of racing here at ERA. Back onto the power. Christoph Peterson immediately trying to get to the middle of the circuit, try and lock down as Stephen Milana James stuck out wide. Ernest Sundberg's getting a phenomenal start. Has got Milestone on the inside, braking hard, too wide as they filter into turn 1. Milestone dropping down the order as Jens Nelson says thank you very much. Sean Skitter gets a drive and now takes a fight out to battle through. He's got the likes of David Schutten right behind him. Schutten getting a perfect entry into the corner, seeing the likes of Skitter stuck, losing out a bit of time. Jen Nelson going and getting a run on Milestone as we do have one of the ERA Highway Patrol. That looks like it might have been Sebastian getting involved in that contact. Marco Vergo getting landed up, turned round. Chris Wall got a little bit of contact as well. Paul Skivers going and getting caught up. And it is going wild. Sebastian Robinson down the order, trying to get some sort of grip back to him as all the cars carry on going. All 36 continue on the fight. David Boschke having contact, and that looks to be against the likes of, that was one of the Cyber Monkeys, I would say, that BMW. And who would that be? That might have been Tomo Malami. It was who had the contact as the two of them came off. The 701 not having an easy time out there. Will try and pull things back from the brink on the way through. So tough racing off the start for Tomo Malami. And we'll quickly take a look at that accident. So this is the 701. David Roschke caught behind his own teammate, keeping it nose to tail, not wanting to lose any bit of time at the moment. Looks for the inside line. Did he outbrake himself? Yes, he did. And speared across the road, launching it into the side of Tomo Malami's car. Both going and getting a bit of damage on their cars. Will have to try and deal with it and bring themselves back to the brink. I mean, this is just definitely some hard racing on the way through. I mean, this is going to be madness. Ben Hicks, though, trying to pick up the pace, seeing where he can go at the moment as they continue on the drive here at ERA. An absolutely phenomenal start for a lot of these drivers, despite the little bit of bumping and barging. There's been some great racing. Marco Vergo going down the field as Finley Gamble, Paul Fenter, Paul Skivers all getting past. Jason Farmer having that little bit of contact. The 919 car might have had a bit of contact with Marco Vergo, I think it was. So side by side with Marco, Jason Farmer looked up on the inside, had the side-on contact not there, was able to bring it back. Did he go for the undercut? Yes, he did. Didn't have much room to play with, and unfortunately left it a little bit too tight. Had the contact, rear contact. Marco Vergo into the dirt and got sent in through the field. I mean, this is just turning into a bit of a nightmare for some. For others, it is turning into a race of note. Gerrit van Vuren, though, unfortunately, first into the pit lane in the Audi R8, trying to get himself sorted out. Will have served his first pit stop here in ERA and will be looking to go out yet again. Christoph Peterson banging in those laps, a 1:34.6 this time round, as he tries to pull away from Stephen Milano James. 2.2 seconds. Ernest Lundberg's right behind as they go late onto the anchors. David Schuten's got Sean Skitter. Jens Nelson getting pressure from Miles Stone on the way through as David Roth, second of our gold drivers, now looking to put the pressure on. And the Coors Banquet looking to fight it out. Tom O'Malami going and leading out our platinum class with Martin Spritzer closely behind. And Ben Hicks trying to get at the climb. He's in the diamond class, hoping to just see if he has the advantage at the moment. Digging in deep, trying to figure out where he can go. Rich van Heerden, Captain Block himself, going and fighting it out. He's got Dave Borschke on to the back of him. The Track Tool team looking to take the fight. Lewis Knight in that Nissan GTR. He's got Jason Farmer now keeping him company. And Jason Farmer wants to get the climb back up through the order. Nico Lawrence is lying behind with Chris Wall at the moment as they stand on the anchors. I mean, this is going into a wild. Nico Lawrence late on the anchors, trying to do everything he can as Chris Wall continues to put the power on, really hoping that he can get it all in check as we do take a look on board with Chris as he tries to get this Mustang around the circuit. The concentration required to battle his way through, countering a little bit of understeer. You can see that he was focused on the braking, 200 meter mark. He's got Paul Fenter on his tail, and Paul will be radioing in saying, listen buddy, no pressure from behind just yet. Let's try and work our way through. And you can already see the intent, the focus as he powers his way through. Kurt van Vuuren just moving out of the way to the right hand side. Chris Wall trying to do everything he can. Has he got enough room though? Takes a look to his left hand side. See where can he get the pass done. Late on the brakes. He keeps looking at that rear view mirror, hoping he can get it done. Does turn it in, and understeer kicks around as he powers his way through. He's managed to jump up into 16th position. Nico Lawrence none able to fight there. Great run for him. And a great look at where they look around on those triple screens. Aaron Shingle, though, in for a fight. He's got Nicholas Cora, Finley Gamble. Nicholas Cora up into 23rd. Remember, he's dead last off the start of the race, 36th, and now is up into 23rd, making the climb little by little at the moment. And it seems like he's in for an absolute brawl. Oh, Richard van Heerden, though, turned around into the dirt, and now just trying to get himself back up and going. The 313. Unfortunately, the 131 landing into the dirt. Let's see what happened out to him. This was just coming onto the short straight. So, taking a little bit too much curb. Having the rear kick out. Oh, just too far off. Understeer came in and it just spun him around. He was thankfully able to keep it out of the wall, but losing a couple of positions in the process. Down to 22nd and in the clutches of Finley Gamble, now running behind. Finley hoping to keep it going as we do have our 46 car landing up. That's Blake Moore, who's come to a stop. The EBM car is off and stuck on one of the apexes. And that is Blake Moore. What on earth has gone on for him? I know that he's had some technical difficulties in the past. Has it come back to roost? Ben Hicks onto the back of Martin Spritzer as they're fighting out for the loss of the top 10s. As the teams now look to put in those quick lap times, hoping that they can tick away the board here. Expect to see a lot of the cars jumping in at the halfway mark. 30 minutes left of the race would be the main time you want to get into the bits and get yourself going. It is going to be a hard chase from all. Ben Hicks keeping a good bit of pressure onto Martin Spritzer. Lewis Knight dealing with Chris Wall, trying to go around the outside. Now it's a Nissan GTR to battle out against the Ford Mustang. One of the older cars against one of the newer ones, and they do have Nico Lawrence for company with that V10 screaming its guts out, and John Spriggs in the twin-turbo V6 Honda NSX GT3. Late on the anchors, trying to close up. Paul Scotus into 18th position for his debut run, as we do see that would be the corner where Blake Moore used to be. And it looks like Blake Moore's up and going. So whatever's gone wrong with the car, he's able to get it going and continues on the fight nonetheless. Lewis Knight leading out a little bit of a train behind him. Chris Wall, Nico Lawrence, John Spriggs, all on the back of him as he tries to fight his way through. Jumper on board, looking in the rear, and you can see snaking around is Nico Lawrence, trying to eye out the opportunity to get onto the back of Chris Wall. Straight line speed coming out of the Nissan GTR on the way through. I mean, this is going to be a proper chase through lots of questions going and happening, and what's going through the entire field. Who's still on the climb? Who's still going? What is going on? Well, at the moment, Chris Wall with a huge send. Nico Lawrence trying to also take the opportunity. Chris Wall says thank you very much. Lewis Knight loses out, and they continue on the race. Nonetheless, Hanso Foss down in 25th position. It's got Patrick Bowles on ahead of him, and Nicholas Cora 0.8 of a second behind. And Hanso wants to carry on the drive. Finley Gamble has got the likes of Richard Van Eerde, who had the spin a little bit earlier, and Richard not having the best exit, now suddenly has the 296 of Finley Gamble all over the back of him, chasing down, looks around the outside, going to sweep back in for the inside line, couldn't quite get it done, touch on the dirt for the likes of Richard Van Eerde as he continues on his drive, trying to keep it all up in check. Down the straightaway they go, and you can see Hanso Foss lining up Patrick, and it is Finley Gamble lining up to get past Richard Van Eerde at the moment, none able to do so on the way through. So 10 minutes going past, Christoph Peterson leads out the pack with Stephen Milon and James Ernest Lundbergs leading out our top three. Then we have got our golds, Miles Stone, David Roth running first and second, with John Spriggs all the way down in 17th, running third of our golds. For our platinums, it's Tomo Milani, Martin Spritzer, and the likes of David Broschke, who is running in 12th place for our platinums, running in the top three of there. So absolutely bang on racing. Ben Hicks late on the brakes. Martin Spritzer had no way to fight that. Going to try and come back, unfortunately. And Ben Hicks blocking off the line, saying, not possible, buddy. You're not going to go and get me there. And I know with your teammate right behind, you're going to try and pull him along. Paul Fenter gets past Pauls, and now Pauls needs to try and chase up. Paul and Pauls are fighting each other, and the only way you can tell the difference, one likes front engine cars, the other one likes the rear engine. And if you ask Paul Fenter what he thinks of a Porsche, well, he will definitely go and open a bottle of juice and say, listen, let me tell you a story about a certain little Honda that made his life very, very interesting. That divorce was ugly between the likes of Paul Fenter and the Honda. It was terrible. Really was terrible. Lewis Knight keeping Nico Lawrence at bay for the Track Tool team. John Spriggs, who's running third of the golds, is watching Pauls at the moment as they continue to fight on. Oh, and we just caught Pauls landing into the dirt, outbraked himself, and now down into 20th position as he continues on his drive. So many battles happening out on the way through. I mean, this is just turning into such a great run. Nicholas Porras fighting it out as he's Van Furen going off circuit, trying to stay out of the way. Nicholas Porras, Ulrich de Jager going to try and have a go, and he has got Rob van der Heever, his own teammate, trying to push on. The cyber racing of Federico Calgero and Sebastian Robertson all over one another as it Constantina's up. Rob van der Heever having to defend against Federico Calgero, Sebastian Robertson, and the likes of Christian Fengler's joined in the party. Finn van Holland is also involved as well as the train goes and opens up. Nicholas Cora going and trying to pull open the gap as he chases down Patrick Bowles. We are getting reports Nico Lawrence and Lewis Knight coming into contact. Lawrence waiting for the entire field. We saw the train, but Lewis Knight was part of that little bit of contact. Let's quickly go to a replay and take a look. So this is Lewis Knight leading out Nico Lawrence at the moment. The Nissan GTR that's running in 16th position currently had John Spriggs behind, late on the anchors, and unfortunately, it came to a proper stop. Nico Lawrence into the back, and John Spriggs ultimately going and scoring the position there. Is going to be happy as he charges up into their 15th position, and it is going into a wild one. Patrick Bowles dealing with Nicholas Cora and Hanso Foss at the moment. The BMW having a McLaren and a Bentley problem at the moment. Hanso Foss looks for the inside line, couldn't quite get it sorted out. Nicholas Cora trying to maneuver his way through. But let's talk about our top three as Ernest Lundbergs up into third place, looks for the inside line of Stephen Malone James as they continue on by. Ernest Lundbergs, who had a great run, trying to really push his way through towards the top, looked for the inside line, collected the wall a little bit there, felt it on the steering wheel, and will be trying to push on a little bit more as Lundbergs tries once again for the inside line, unable to get it done and dusted, really trying to put himself up into the fighting order, and will continue on the charge all the way through. And you can see the absolute absolute intent, the focus needed to try and maneuver the cars through. It's a very, very rhythm circuit, and considering he's fighting out for the championship on the way through at the moment, he is fighting it out from 4th place. And for like Stephen Milano James, who isn't within the top 3, is not too concerned about him, but it can be points taken off the table and reduce the time to catch up to the likes of Christoph Peterson, Ben Hicks, and Jens Nelson, who are currently leading out the championship, 60 points, 50 points, and 38 points, while Una Sundberg sits tied with Jens Nelson at the moment. So if he can continue the momentum, he will be really on the climb on the way through, but it's going to be a hard climb indeed to keep it going. Late on the brakes, trying to really go for those sends and just not having an easy time. Stephen Milano James going and protecting his lines the whole way through, ensuring that he continues on the drive. And Sundberg's to the wall, trying to bring himself back, and unfortunately unable to do so. David Schuden's got Sean Skitter in the tow as they continue on here at the beautiful track of Indianapolis. Late onto the anchors, is going to follow through, and it's a 4.88 versus a 2.96 for the top 3 so far. No change in positions between them, all keeping rather clean. David Roschke, however, going and having a little bit of a go at Martin Spritzer, wasn't able to do it. Jason Farmer trying to close the door. Chris Wall with a send on the inside, couldn't get it all sorted out. Farmer says, hey buddy, that was running out of time. Chris Wall going, well, you got to try it to put the nose in and get that pass done and dusted. If you couldn't, well, loses out time like this as they now chase on. They are trying to catch up to the train of Roschke and Martin Spritzer just ahead of them as they continue on. Hunso Foss making the pass on Patrick Bars. Nico Lawrence trying to go up on the inside of the BMW of Patrick and does get it sorted out. The Red Bull livery BMW of Patrick Bars now trying to gain a little bit of time, not looking to pull a Sonoda. He's looking to try and make it work out as Max Verstappen. Nicholas Porras, though, for the AMR Red Bull Racing, continues on his drive and looking to really put in those top lap times. Christian Fengler has got Marco Vergo having a good run at him as drivers continue to put on an incredible pace here for the top running order. Christoph Peterson leading out the pack with a dominating run of nearly 6 seconds, going 7 seconds to even Milano James, who's got plenty for company of Ernest Sundberg's. And as he continue on the drive, Ernest Sundberg's not able to keep it in check just as yet under braking. He's going to wait his time here, biding it, waiting for the opportunity to climb on his way through, and it's going to be a proper run on the way. So good to see some great racing, and I have to re-echo that one for sure. Liam Swinburne, right happy about it. Dave Rotsky running in 12th with Chris Wall. Jason Farmer losing out to Chris, and now we'll have to just keep on the back of that Mustang. Not what he wanted to see, and will be going and just gritting his teeth at this point. What on earth needs to be done to ensure he keeps in for the running order? 36 cars maintain the pace here at Indianapolis. We are starting to see some pit stops as Ulrich de Jager has gone into the pits. The 575 is doing a pit at the moment. He did have an incident a little bit earlier, Ulrich de Jager. We go, this is Nicholas Cora that landed up going a little bit out of shape. Ulrich de Jager was a little bit further back. I think our camera's being properly confused there. There he is. So Ulrich de Jager actually had a disconnect to reconnect, and that is why he's in pit lane and having to wait it out. Martin Spritzer keeping on the back of Dave Brodsky. He's got Chris Wall now for company. Chris has been slowly on that climb, but now he's going to have to battle out against the track tool team. Martin trying to defend that apex as much as possible. Chris having to stop dead, trying to battle out. The Ford Mustang has got some serious legs on the run, but Lamborghini V10s will scream out as we do see Ulrich de Jager finally getting himself going. Chris Wall up on the inside of Martin Spritzer. It's going to be who's the last of the late breakers, who's going to be able to make it, and it is Chris Wall sweeping across. Martin did try and take a look. He brought himself back and right into the clutches of Jason Farmer. Couldn't get that pass looked at and dropped down. Aaron Shingle into the pits as he tumbles down the order, trying to get that pit stop done and dusted. Christian Fengler unfortunately out into the weeds and toes back to pits. That is a nightmare run for Christian Fingler, the number 30, who went straight off. And let's try and take a look for Christian Fingler as he was keeping it going. And all seemed to have gone wrong. Up towards the pit wall, bringing it back and running out into the dirt. Just touches the dirt, swings it round, and that was pretty much that. It looks like they may have retired the car as well. That's unfortunate, as he was putting in some really good times. It looked like whatever's gone on has properly twisted him around the boat. Not an easy time out there, and Fingler, unfortunately, will be getting a little bit frustrated on that run, and hopefully he will be trying to maneuver his way through. So Christian Fingler hoping that he can keep up the climb at this point, and unfortunately that all dissipated into nothing, as Ernest Sundberg's has got Stephen Millan and James David Schutten a little bit further back, with Sean Skitter hanging in the background. 12 laps completed here at the beautiful Indianapolis. Chris Wall dealing with Jason Farmer at the moment. Farmer has got the run on him. Looks to the inside. John Spriggs going to be waiting for an opportunity, as it looks like Chris Wall is going to go late on the anchors, try and get past Martin Spritzer. Wasn't able to do it. Bit of traffic as they come through, and seeing one of the cars exiting the pit lane, and that might have been Aaron Shingle, who's just come out of the pit, sees the cars all over him. Nicholas Cora up on the inside of Finley Gamble gets a run and will continue through. John Spriggs, however, who was in a fight, unfortunately, landing up into the dirt, losing a lot of time, and now down the order yet again. Still running third in class, however, but now not going to be in for the fight. Ruben Heineke all over the back of Paul Fenter. The South Africans put pressure on the UK. Lewis Knight in that Good Smile Racing Nissan GTR, as he powers his way through, will have the straight line on the rest. Martin Spritzer losing out to Jason Farmer and Chris Wall in one fell swoop, trying to come back, cutting the grass, however, is going to cost him a bit of time. Lewis Knight will try and push on a little bit more, with Paul Fenter at the helm, going and bugging the living daylights out of him and seeing where he can get by. Paul Fenter in that beautiful likes of the AMR Aston Martin V8, as he tries to power his way through. Not able to get the run on him. Ruben Heineke, however, is going to have a lot of good rotation on his car as he continues on the drive, looking to try and push a little bit more forward as they jump onto the Indianapolis. The steering lightens up, aiming for turn one. Paul Fenter looks to try and get past Lewis Knight. Is he going to be able to do it, though? Unfortunately not. Lewis Knight, defensive inside line, going and protects it. Oh, Paul a little bit squirrely on the brakes, though, trying to bring it back right at the last, unable to do so, and will be definitely taking a deep breath on that one. Ben Hicks has got Tomo Malami just ahead of him. Tomo hoping that he can defend like his life depends on it at this moment, as they make their way through, immediately having to deal with the likes of Ben Hicks constantly on the back of them. Both in BMWs, however, both will run into similar problems of that understeer that will naturally creep in over time. The BMWs can really go over the curves quite happily, but it does get the understeer as everything starts to wear out. You can already see Tomo cranking at the wheel, and there is the mistake of Ben Hicks, running out a little bit too wide, opens up a bit of breathing room, and also snapping off the back of that slipstream late onto the brakes. Down the gears they go. You can see the angle that Tomo has to really push on that steering wheel, and it does show how he's trying to keep it all together. Ben Hicks, however, pulls into the pit saying, listen, I'm going to get my pit stop done and dusted, and I won't have to worry about you anytime soon. David Roth, however, running in 8th place, right behind Miles Stone in 7th. As Ernest Sundberg's fighting it out yet again, still with Stephen Milano James keeping that pressure on. Ben Hicks dropping down the order to serve his pit stop. Where is he going to come out? That's going to be the question. Hanso Foss onto the back of Patrick Bowles, but it's Nico Lawrence who leads out those that have done their pit stops, with Aaron Schegel, who's just gotten past now. Aaron will be the leader of the pit stops and will continue on his drive through the order. So Aaron Schegel will be quite happy with that. Ben Hicks pulls in the pits. Ruben Heineke into the pits as well. and drivers will be trying to push themselves that little bit more up through the order. Marco Vergo, after a difficult start, is all the back over the back of Finn Van Holland, just ahead of him. And Marco Vergo still got that 25 seconds that he needs to serve in the pits after getting a penalty as well. So he's been on a proper drive to try and recover some time. Unfortunately, stuck behind his teammate on the way through. So close racing, still so much to go through, still so much time. 36 minutes left of this race. It is 5:30 in the afternoon. The track is starting to cool off. 16 degrees now here on the beautiful circuit of Indianapolis. Ernest Sundberg's trying to go a little bit later under braking. Can you get it done though? That is the question. Really hard on the anchors. Couldn't quite pull it back. We'll have to wait yet another lap to get it done and dusted as he tries once again on Stephen Milano. James couldn't get it all sorted out. David Schutten, who is running in 4th place, 3.9 seconds on the back. He's starting to get a little bit of a train build up as well. Paul Venter dealing with John Spriggs as we do see Aaron moving out of the way to allow the faster cars to come through as Lewis Knight gets an easy pass, and Paul Venter unfortunately will not, and that will allow John Spriggs to have a go at him, as well as Paul Skivers, who will be in for the mix as well. So Ben Hicks leading out those that have gone through the pits and now will be starting the climb. He's got Blake Moore to contend with, and the EBM car will be on the charge. 29th position at the moment. Had a little bit of an issue a little bit earlier on, and it will now start the climb. Martin Spritzer in 13th with Lewis Knight, Paul Venter, John Spriggs, Paul Skivers all onto the back of them. The train starting to build up, as well as David Schutten dealing with Sean Skitter, Jens Nelson, Miles Stone, and David Roth, who are starting to close up on one another as well. We've also got Finley Gamble with Patrick Biles right behind him. Patrick Bales, do apologize, has got Hanso Foss, Nicholas Porras, Rob van der Heever going and putting some pressure, as well as likes of Finn Van Holland. We do see Ulrich de Jager in the McLaren in the background, but he is not in contention as well. He's joining into this train just to keep some pace as well. David Schutten into the pits, David Roschke into the pits, Miles Stone, David Roth, Tom and Milani, each gaining a position at the moment. Schutten trying to go for that later pit stop. We did say keep an eye on the 30-minute mark. Well, there it is. Pulled the trigger early on, and now we'll continue on the climb. Chris Wall dealing with Jason Farmer on behind. John Spriggs having a go at Paul Venter. He's in the slipstream, going to try and look for the corner. Is he going to get it done though? The Wise Racing late on the anchors, but not willing to take the risk to go after Paul Venter, as we are getting reports of Nicholas Porras having an off-track excursion, and Hanso Foss into the pits as well. So now the pit stops are starting to kick in. This is where it's going to get interesting, and where drivers are going to be battling out. So let's quickly take a look at that incident with Nicholas Porras in the beautiful Aston Martin AMR V8. He's got Hanso Foss just ahead of him. Now, we do know Hanso Foss did go into pit lane, but was it a little bit of assistance? Dropped a wheel off a track. Oh, very light contact onto the rear. Just enough to give you a bit of a fright as they all dived in. So this is where we're going to get an interesting time. David Schutten leading out those that are in the pits at the moment, trying to get himself sorted out as he comes out of pit lane. Will be into 25th position. Blake Moore will lock it down. So he will come out on 24th, and Blake Moore into 25th. David Roschke, however, will be going down the order, so that is going to be a big call for David Schutten of the ERA Highway Patrol, hoping that an early pit stop will come in. Ernest Lundberg dives into the pit, so we know that it's time as Martin Spritzer focuses to get into pit lane as well. Paul Venter has got the run on Lewis Knight. Goes up high though. Can he keep it all together with the likes of Lewis Knight battling out just ahead of him? Lewis will continue on the drive. That Nissan GTR is a bit heavy on the tires here at Indianapolis, and now Paul Venter looking to push it in a little bit further, not able to get it done and dusted, and he will have to go yet another lap. But the question is, now that Sean Skitter is up into third, we do know he likes to go a little bit longer in the race, run it tank to tank, run it out and get himself sorted out. Doesn't worry about too much of when exactly is he going to pit. Stephen Milano, James and Christoph Peterson, however, will be starting to try and think about, especially Peterson, 15 seconds he needs to clear over second place before he can even consider getting into the pits. And at the moment, he's only 8 seconds ahead of Stephen Milano-James, who's got no penalties served. Sean Skitter's got 5. Now Stephen Milano-James into the pits, going for the undercut here. Sean Skitter will then inherit that second place. Jens Nelson has got the likes of Sean Skitter in sight, and Miles Stone has got David Roth onto the back of him. So this is just fighting their way out as they go and duke it for the top running order. David Roth going to be smiling ear to ear. Tomo Malami will battle around in 6th position on the way through. Still so much time to be had, so much to go on, and it's proper good racing, and that is agreed. Scott Reynolds going and saying there's some great racing out here, and I have to agree. There has been some great racing and continues to be some great racing out on the circuit. It doesn't matter which class you're in, whether you're in gold, diamond, or platinum, you are in for a fight of note. And considering how close the times are in this track, going and leading in for a bit of back markers to come into it, Reynolds, fellow American, to go and cheer on David Roth and Miles Stone, who are currently running 4th and 5th for overall, but 1st and 2nd of the gold division, going and really fighting it out nonetheless. Here's a drop round during the course of the championship to consider, but considering this is round 5, there isn't a lot of points to play with that's still left in for the fight if you want to continue on. The 888, however, of John Spriggs has come to the stop on the side of the track, and it looks like we may have had a failure on his part, so let's quickly jump on board into the helmet. He is 2nd gear on the way through, trying to continue on the power. Can we hear up on the power, down into 3rd, and just came to a stop? So John Spriggs having some sort of failure has stopped him out on the circuit, and still is stuck there, stranded and down the order. He was having such a great run for the championship and such a great run for himself, but unfortunately it's not working out. Jason Farmer, however, gone into the pits. The 888 still stuck on the circuit. Hopefully they can get that car fired up and back out onto the track, going round and round. He is down out of the race, that is for certain. He's in 34th position. Ulrich Diaga is going to make quick work of him. We do have one retirement, however, and that would bring us to 35 cars. John Spriggs will make it down into 34 as Ulrich Diaga dives into the pit lane, try and get himself sorted out. After a disconnect, reconnect, he will continue on the drive. Nicholas Cora down into the pits now to get himself sorted out. He had that quality ban, and he's managed to bring himself up to a beautiful 11th position before pulling into the pits, and continues on the drive. Most gains and losses, however, let's talk about it. Let's talk about the lows, unfortunately, and that will be the 22 positions down for Marco Virgo from his starting position. He started in 11th position. He's now down in 22nd. We did see the earlier contact that him twisted around, and now needing to get back on the climb. He's in 33rd at the moment. Most gains, we got to talk about the positives now, because, well, there is a lot of it. And at the moment, that is Nicholas Porras, who has currently got 22 positions up on his gain. He's up into 9th, started in 31st, and Nicholas Cora is up 20 positions from where he started as well. Drop it down to 19, as Ben Hicks making short work of him, saying thank you very much. We're going to continue on our race nonetheless. Tomo Malami into the pits to try and get himself sorted out, and will be continuing on the drive nonetheless. All cars trying to get themselves through as we've gone past the halfway mark. It is all on, but our top 11 cars have not gone into, well, I'm saying that Tom Malami is one in the pits, and he is in the top 11. Not for long though, and here comes Nicholas Porras, Sebastian Robertson, and Federico Calgero trying to make a bit of work in, but we have got 10 cars that have not gone into pit lane as yet. That is always a tricky one for the drivers, trying to work out that long run. David Roth, however, I think is trying to compete with Miles Stone at the moment, and they will be watching out when the trigger is pulled between the two of them. David Roth hoping to follow Miles Stone into the pit or try and get the overcut. Miles Stone watching David Roth to either come into the pits with him, or he is watching to go for the undercut. They do have Jason Farmer ahead of them to try and pull along, so Milestone will be saving a little bit of fuel here. Bit of lift and coast will be the main point of the game as they try and keep going on the way through. Ernest Umbriggs up into the top 10, will be trying to make his way around. There's David Roth into the pits. He was first to pull the trigger, and how is that going to work out for Paul Skivers, who is running currently in third? He's got Nicholas Porras on the back of him as well, so Pauls will be thinking what he needs to do here. Is he going to go into the pits as well, or is he going to go for a long shot here to try and carry through? He's got Lewis Knight ahead of him, who is leading out of our Platinums, and there is Pauls into the pit, try and get himself done. Nicholas Porras will be eyeing out next. He's still got some time to go, but I do think David Roth has cleared Nicholas Porras just enough to keep on going. Lewis Knight gains first place and will continue on the charge as we do see the cars coming through. Great racing nonetheless. David Roth still waiting in pit lane. Nicholas Porras into the pits as well. So this is playing into the favor of Milestone for now. Seeing the top contenders of the gold division still going and fighting it out on the way through. But David Roth hoping to come out ahead of Ernest Umbriggs on the way through. Now, Ernest Umbriggs is always the question here. Pulled in from third place and will be coming, chasing down. David Roth is rolling, but can he get out of pit lane just before Ernest Umbriggs? He is trundling down, and unfortunately not. Ernest managing to get the pass done and dusted. So does Stephen Manola James getting it done and dusted. David Schuton will come across as David Roth only trundling down now. We'll see Paul Skivers in his rearview mirror trying to have a go with him on the exit. David Roth exiting pit lane in 9th, heading into 10th position as Tamo Malani gets the pass done and dusted. He's up into 9th place. Going to be smiling ear to ear on the way through. So great running for the order as Sean Skitter, Milestone, both pulling into the pits. And very, very odd. Usually we've seen Sean Skitter go the long way into this race, so he's decided not to. Where Christoph Peterson and Jens Nelson, however, are going to be legging it the long run. Lewis Knight into the pits, so there will only be 2 cars left to go into pit lane. Peterson and Nelson will be the cars to keep an eye out for. Lewis Knight leading out the Platinums will be trying to keep ahead of Tamo Malami and hoping that he gets fouled up enough to lose out. Milestone will have the same thing. Nicholas Poriso, stop go, 30-second penalty for exiting pit lane a little bit too quick and will be losing out. So, man oh man, what a blow for our Nicholas Porras, who will be down the order. Not going to be too happy with that one. And that stop-go 30-second, a crucial time for him. It will ensure that he is out of the running order. Nico Lawrence up against the likes of Finley Gamble at the moment. 2 different classes, but looking to fight for overall position. They got Patrick Miles just ahead of him. Paul Fenter going side by side with Aaron Shingle. Aaron on the inside. The Miltech Cyber Racing team comes across the nose, defending against Paul Fenter, who backs out of it and says, okay, buddy, you can go for the fight. We'll come back at you. Christoph Peterson, Jen Nelson into the pits. Ernest Umbriggs is going to be the one to keep an eye out here, as Peterson will wait to get out on circuit yet again. And this will be a big moment. Can Limburgs do enough to ensure that he gets that first place? He's got Nelson and Peterson in the pits, 2 of the championship contenders to find it out. And he has got a lot of time to make up here, as Peterson may have done enough to ensure that he holds his position. Nelson, however, is a lot closer to be attacked. Limburg's getting into the dirt a little bit too much there. Stands on the power, going around. Is it going to be enough as he starts coming on the oval? We'll take a look. Peterson is still stopped. Nelson is still stopped. Limburg's trying to bring himself back down, and I don't think he has enough time. Nelson and Peterson are off and going. Limburg's, unfortunately, too far back to try and capitalize on it. He is going to have to push, and unfortunately, the undercut did not work in his favor, and he will have to watch out yet again for the likes of Nelson and Peterson as they trundle on. Actually, it has worked. The long pits lane has helped. Limburg's taking first. along with Stephen Milano, James up into second, Schutten into third, Peterson only exiting the pits now with Nelson on the back of him. Sean Skitter will not be able to do it. He's got Tomo Malami, leader of our Platinums, Miles Stone on the back of him. David Roth tried for the undercut. He still holds in second place on the way through. What a turn of events. Limburgs now leads the race. Limburgs will have the opportunity to go for a win here. Something that he's been chomping at the bit to have. He's missed out a few times now, just not able to maximize the points in all the races from Hungaroring, Kota, Donington, Silverstone, where he wasn't able to score any points. He now has an opportunity to go and maximize it here at the beautiful track of Indianapolis. Lewis Knight has got Nicholas Cora all over the back of him as they're fighting out for class position, and they are fighting out for overall. Nicholas Cora looking for the inside. He's on the climb after starting in 36th place. He is now battling out with Lewis Knight. Goes up on the inside. Can he keep it going? And does so. Paul Fenter having a little bit of contact with Aaron Shingle by the looks of it, and coming off a bit worse than that as he drops down behind Rob van der Heever of the GSR team. They're going to be happy. Patrick Bowles goes in looking to try and get by. Finley Gamble trying on the inside to continue on the drive. He's got the run. Patrick loses out under braking, and that brings him into the clutches of Nico Lawrence immediately all over the back of him. Finley Gamble, the 2ID, now having a go at Paul Fenter. Looks for the inside line. Going to go late on the anchors to swing the car through. Couldn't get it sorted out. Waits yet again. Finley and Paul not having an easy time. Rob van der Heever going and having a go to try and run away at the moment. Fights everywhere you look. Nicholas Cora, Lewis Knight going and making their way around. Nicholas Cora gaining a position up into 15th, and now putting Lewis Knight behind him as they fight on. Next up for Nicholas Cora is to try and get past Chris Wall to ensure that he is in for the top three of the class. Lewis Knight loses out a little bit of time. Martin Spritzer immediately going and standing on the anchors to try and bring it back. Christoph Peterson dealing with Schutten at the moment as they're fighting out for the top three. Schutten, who is in the fight for the championship, he's lying fifth. Going and getting a win over Peterson is going to be a maximizing effort here for him as they launch on by. Goes out high. Schutten and Peterson late on the brakes, and it does look like Schutten managing to keep that 488 at bay, and Peterson looking left, looking right. He is hunting down. He's got the fastest lap of the race, but wants to get the overall win. He is so close to the back of Schutten to get into the podium spots, maximizing points, but it is still a lot of hard work needed to try and do it. Van Vuren has got Jens Nelson to contend with. He moves out of the way. Jens Nelson will say thank you on that one, that it isn't too hard of a pass, and now continues on his drive as our top two, third and fourth are fighting it out in fourth position. I mean, great racing on the way through. So close between drivers. Tom and Maloney leading our Platinums with David Walshke and Chris Wall in third place. And then for our golds, it's Milestone, David Roth, and Paul Skivers on his debut outing, who is in for a proper run. Paul Fenter having a go at Rob van der Heever as they trying to duke it out between the two of them. It is just hammer and tongs all the way through. Tomo Malami all over the back of Sean Skitter as Tomo looking to get into that top six now and knocking on the door to try and pull his way through that. Lexus not backing down from the fight, has got to work incredibly hard behind the Honda NSX. The 488, however, of Christoph Peterson putting the power of that V8 Ferrari onto the back of Schutten's inline 6 turbocharged BMW M4 GT3 that climbs onto the anchors, is able to go over those curbs beautifully. The 488 just not having an easy time out here. Stephen Milano, James 1.8 seconds off the likes of Ernest Umbergs, but they have opened up the gap. 25 laps in of this race, 17 minutes left to go. It's all or nothing at this point for the drivers to really put the hammer down. How far can you go? How far are you willing to go? It is going to be an all-out chase as Peterson looks on the inside, goes for the send. Has he outbraked himself? He has done so. Schutten gets on pass. That's going to allow Jens Nelson to immediately get in. Peterson went for the gamble. It didn't pay off. He lost our time. Nelson now in for the fight against Peterson as they charge through. And this is a big one for the likes of Jens Nelson, who's third in the championship. He now sees the likes of Peterson just ahead of him and saying, listen, buddy, if I can get you down in the points, I can knock you closer to the likes of Ben Hicks and myself. You're sitting on 60 points. I'm sitting on 38. Ben Hicks is on 50. This would be a big one. Shooten will be doing his teammate a favor, not only just for his championship, but his teammate's championship, as he's running second. Ben Hicks is on 50 points. If Shooten can keep Peterson at bay, it drops him way down the order and not able to contend for the fight. For Ben Hicks, that's a big one as he lies in 10th place, waiting, just trying to figure out where he can get the drive. Christoph Peterson up high, tries to bring it through, late on the brakes, tries to bring it back and wasn't able to do so. Constantly hunting, looks on the outside, yet again goes for the cutback, couldn't get it sorted out. Peterson just getting a bit furious behind the wheel, once again going to go up high and try and carry the momentum through here at Indianapolis as they power their way on, cross the brickyard into turn one. Peterson went for the lunge. It didn't work out last time. David Shooten going and defends the inside, comes back, defends against Peterson, stuck him to the outside line. Peterson this time round did not miss the corner, tried getting the drive, had to brake a little bit mid-corner, and that's got Jens Nelson in for the fight. Chris Wall having contact with David Broschke at this point as they make their way through. Unfortunately, not quite the way they wanted to. A little bit of brawling in the back for the two of them. But Jens Nelson having the opportunity here to go after the likes of Peterson will continue to put on the drive as he sees David Shooten keeping up a solid defense at the moment between them. Broschke getting the position back from Chris Wall. Now, I think that was a bit of a return. I'm sorry, but that was my fault there. Open up the gap and let Broschke to retake the position. Martin Spritzer and Lewis Knight continue on their charge. Everyone still so close to one another, but the closest fight is up at the top of the field. Peterson and Shooten for the last 14 minutes of this race. They've got to get everything they got. Nelson's hanging on the coattails at this point, waiting for the opportunity to arise again. Peterson up high, doesn't make the move. Down low, he will follow through the BMW, keeping it nice and consistent. He did look for the inside there, wasn't able to get it done, and now will go up high yet again. He saw that Shooten went for the inside line into turn one. Is it going to be it again as they charge on? Shooten holding his line, goes to middle and trying to just gently snap the toe of Christoph Peterson at the moment. Shooten going to go late on the anchors, as late as he can go. Peterson follows through nice and gently, starting to just wait for an opportunity here, seeing that Shooten is watching his mirrors constantly and seeing where the opportunity may take him. Great racing. Looks on the inside line, couldn't get the drive, and will continue to power his way through as Shooten continues to defend. And there is Jens Nelson in the rearview mirror. You can see that rearview camera of the Cyber Racing Mustang, Cyber Racing Lamborghini. Forgive me for that one. Don't confuse the two. That is just heresy of note. And Jens Nelson going and having a look, trying to fight back. Has to back out of it. Christoph Peterson going and looking for the inside, trying to carry as much drive as possible. Nelson getting right into the thick of it, wants to try and get as much momentum as possible. Shooten, who doesn't seem to have much in the corners compared to the rest, but he does have a bit of straight line to contend with the likes of the Ferrari and the Lamborghini as they come through. Peterson not going for the dive just as yet. He knows he needs to make it work, otherwise he compromises himself too much. Looks once again for the inside line, but Shooten locking it down, bringing it to an absolute crawl. Peterson and Nelson continue to duke it out and constantly run through. But this is where it's going to get interesting. It's going to be all for the send on the inside for Peterson. Can he get it done? 0.2 of a second. Close. Sticks to the outside. Shooten once again snapping right at the last to go and defend on the inside. And that has got Christoph Peterson. Quick flash of lights there saying, careful, buddy. That was a little bit wild to contend with. Jen Nelson constantly hounding him at the moment, looking to try and get by. It was just right as the nose of the Ferrari is on the back of the BMW. He's able to snap it across to defend his line and bring it back. Doesn't want to lose too much control as a little bit of bump draft going to be into effect here. Jens Nelson now in the slipstream, running a bit close. Now we saw this happening once again. Nelson going to the far outside line, try and take it. Peterson on the inside snaps in to try and defend the line away from Nelson and also have a go at David Schutton. This is just some great racing, and it's why we enjoy watching the pros going at it. Everyone else, though, a little bit more split apart. Miles Stone, David Roth, they're fighting out for the golds, and they are running in sequence at the moment, having a good time out there, with Tom and Maloney just ahead of them in the Lexus chasing after Sean Skitter. Chris Wall catching up to Broski. That's running just ahead for the Track Tool team. Finley Gamble and Aaron Shingle also having a good go between one another and looking to try and push themselves out a little bit more. Chris Wall falling a little bit behind. Hunso Foss and the likes with Finn Holland, Sebastian Robertson, all going and battling out between one another as well. So just many fights here at Indianapolis, and all the drivers trying to contend. David Schutton, however, did not go for the inside line this time round. Kept it firmly planted where he needed to be to try and hold back Peterson, as Chris Wall gains a position on David Roschke and runs out a bit wide. Roschke coming back at him. David unable to go and fight it out, and that is running now for second place of the Platinums. Chris Wall finally getting the grips with the Mustang and having those good races, looking to try and get yet again another second place here in ERA Sunday Championship, as we do see Christoph Peterson going out wide and Schutton trying to follow him through, going for the defense here. Jens Nelson going to follow through. It is Peterson, stuck it on the inside. Can he keep it going? It's side by side they go, no room for error. Both going and brute forcing their way. Peterson losing the drive. Jens Nelson trying to capitalize, goes underneath the likes of Peterson. He wasn't able to get the run as they start making their way back up to the oval. Nelson in for the toe. Peterson goes up high. Nelson up low and just cuts back in to avoid the likes of Peterson, who's just battling it out. It is turning into an absolute slugfest between the two on the way through. Dave Roschke has got Nicholas Cora keeping him for company now and looking to try and take away that third place. Nicholas Cora, who had a qualifying ban, started 36th, is now 15th, and now looking at getting third place in the race for the Platinums. Christoph Peterson able to just keep it all in check, tries to come back on David Schutton. He's got the run this time around. Schutton defends the line once again, holds that apex. Jens Nelson going and contending, fighting it out. Nelson not backing down. He wants to get that third place in the diamond and third overall, but he needs to get past these duo of Peterson and Schutton as they're just slowing each other up, running into the 36s, mid 36s, while the rest of the field are running 35s. That is a big telling story to it all, as Christoph Peterson's going to commit to the inside. He wasn't able to go and get past yet, as Schutton going and moving around, trying to figure out where can he go to defend. How much does he need to defend at the moment, as Peterson taking a little bit too much curb there, will be picking up a track warning saying, listen, you're pushing yourself a little too hard. Keep an eye out on the racing at hand. Jens Nelson still hanging on the back of him as Peterson continues on. Miles Stone now having a bit of a problem with David Roth, who has dialed it up. The Coors Banquet is now looking to deliver the 488 into first place and does try go on the inside of Miles Stone. The Stunt Possum Racing Stang not having an easy time out there, will have to defend. Peterson defending on the outside with Schutton on the inside. They bring it back, and Schutton still managing to maintain as they continue their way on. That is for third of our diamonds, and we do have the likes of Miles Stone and David Roth on top of one another for the golds. Malami checked out away from the rest of the Platinums. Chris Wall is miles ahead of Nicholas Cora as they continue on their race for the top runners of the Platinum Division. Still some racing to go. 6 minutes and 47 seconds in this race. It's now for those Hail Marys to come in. How are you going to go? Indianapolis style. You got to keep your foot in it right until the last. Carry the momentum, and just as you get towards the corner, you're going to have to commit to the inside line. Take the high speed. Really go for it. Make sure the tires grip up. And go for the win. If you're not going to get it here at the Brickyard, at such a prestigious event, where are you going to do it? We are getting reports of Federico Calgero and Finn Van Holland. They had a bit of a contact with one another. We did see our leader, Una Sumbriggs, get past them, and he's able to continue on the drive. And there's Finn Van Holland trying to hold his line on the way through for the likes of Stephen Milano, James. And Sumbriggs, once again, hard on the anchors to just try and bring it all together. All he needs to do at this point is focus on his drive. Doesn't want to push it too hard. Doesn't want to lose too much time. Wants to continue on the drive. Peterson, once again, having the likes of Nelson looking up on the inside. Miles Stone has got Roth coming after him. And David Roth not going to battle it out into turn one. He's going to try and continue the momentum on the way through. Miles constantly watching his rearview mirror. Roth losing a lot of time on the exit. He wasn't able to feed the power on as much as he would like, and that's compromised him. Hanso Foss has got Sebastian Ribisam on the back of him, and Ribisam is going and battling it out. Hanso Foss trying to get the drive on Patrick Bowles, and they've got Rob van der Heever just ahead of them as they continue on 23rd, 24th, 25th, and 26th position. 33 cars still circulate, 3 retirements during the course of this race, unfortunately, and still plenty of racing to continue on here. The beautiful Indianapolis circuit. And where is everyone? I'm trying to see, where is Paul the Ball? Because we haven't seen him out in a long time, and I think he's maybe one of those retired cars. And might actually be the case of Paul Fenter, who is one of the retired cars, is out of the running, and that is an absolutely sad one to see. So far, though, some good racing on the way through. Sebastian getting the pass on Hanso Foss, who is now down into 26th position. So 33 cars still circulate here at the beautiful Indianapolis circuit. 36 started, and unfortunately, one of the cars out is Paul Fenter. We have taken a look in his confirmation. Unfortunately, he's out. Jens Nelson having a go. Christoph Peterson doing everything he can to try and bring it back. And the others still going out. Talman Bellamy, Chris Wall, and Ernst Sumbriggs still putting in the drive. Richard van Heerden, unfortunately, off into the wall. And now just trying to turn himself around. He's in 19th, and Aaron Schengel will be the next one to go and take the position away from him, as they will be heading up onto the tower, onto the back. And there is Finley Gamble as well, going and saying thank you very much. Done, dusted, sorted, and we'll continue on the drive. Schutten, inside, outside, swings it across. Peterson going out wide. Nelson up on the inside, trying to get that pass done and dusted. Lamborghini now getting the run on Christoph Peterson, and will have to fight it out. Peterson dropping down behind the likes of Nelson, will have to contend with seeing the likes of Schutten and Nelson having a go. Maybe a switch around in the last 3 minutes might actually be what's needed to throw Schutten off his game. Put a different driver in for the top running fights and see where they can go. For Nelson, this is crucial on the running order. How far are they willing to push these cars on the way through towards the end of the race? And Nelson has got Peterson onto the back of him. Schutten now a second ahead. Stephen Milano James breaking into turn one is currently in second place. But out in front is the Ernest Limburgs, the Rusties, going and having a great bit of contention here, looking to power his way through and get it to the end. Only 2 minutes and 20 seconds remain for the charge, and it's all or nothing at this current moment for the drivers who are leading out. And Torbo Milani leading out his class, and the likes of Ernest Limburgs leading out his, along with the likes of Miles Stone and David Roth to contend with one another. And once again, reiterating, they came off doing a 6 hour Silverstone, which is absolutely incredible to know that these drivers will continue on the drive all the way through and will be hoping to push themselves that little bit more. Peterson right behind Nelson, unable to go, as we do have a bit of contact. That looks to be Rich Van Heerden and Nico Lawrence, who has turned around. The 24 car landed up in a bit of contact. And let's try and take a look. So he had likes a Rich Van Heerden ahead of him. Runs out a bit wide. Brings it back. Rich Van Heerden off circuit. Rejoins side by side. And a little bit of contact on the rear right and turns him around. And there is the Constantino effect that came into play as well, as Rob suddenly had the likes of Sebastian, Aaron Shingle all onto the back of him. And it's Rob Van Heerden, sorry, and that's Rich Van Heerden that had that bit of contact and will be trying to just get himself sorted. Patrick Bells and Hanso Foss having a go around him as well. Jens Nelson now having an opportunity in the last 50 seconds to go after Shooten. Now this is what he's been waiting for. Shooten has got both his teammates though ahead of him. They are fighting for position, and Jens Nelson's going to quickly try and get an opportunistic move. Looks around. Shooten going to be battling out, seeing his teammates are in the mix as well. Jens Nelson not wanting to get pincered between them. Peterson getting involved in the fight as well. Slots himself in, and that is a good go for the likes of Finn van Holland, who backs out of the fight from the likes of Marco Fago. It's going to allow the drivers to go through and will continue on. Nelson now has an opportunity here. Shooten trying to defend, doing everything he can. Peterson needs to now try and light up the wick. He needs to retake the position away from Nelson. He needs to retake that position at all costs. It's going to be all or nothing at this point as they plow their way through. Ernest Sundbergs will be coming around. This is his final lap, coming up towards the checkered flag, and Ernest Sundbergs going to be happy with that, taking the overall race win. Ernest Sundbergs in the number 95 takes first place, and you can see the enthusiasm, the excitement. It is great stuff. Stephen Milano James in second place comes across the line. Only just Peterson gets past Shooten and Jens Nelson as they come through. What a turn of events. Let's quickly go and take a look at that. What on earth happened to the likes of Shooten? Did it all fall apart right at the last? Marco Van Gogh just ahead of him. And there is Shooten, runs out wide. Nelson up on the inside. Contact between the two. And there is the move around the outside of Nelson on the inside. And Christoph Peterson takes third place. Tomo Milani getting the win for the Platinums. Milestone gets the win for the Golds. David Roth in second place. Chris Wall getting second in class. Nicholas Cora third in class. And Paul Skivers on his first outing gets third in class. What a stellar run. That was exciting. That was wild. That was ERA. Man, oh man. Folks, I hope you are just excited as I am, because that was just what a race. That's all I could say. What a race. It kept me on my toes, and I know it kept you guys on toes as well. And honestly, just some great racing. The drivers really showing off on fantastic form here at the beautiful track of Indianapolis, and everyone able to get their cars across the line. And what an opportunistic move for Peterson. He was waiting all the time, hoping for the opportunity to launch himself up into the running order, and he managed to do that. After a contact, Nelson took the dive on Shooten, compromising both of them across the line. I mean, that is just what a race, what a time, what a line to be alive. I mean, that was phenomenal. That being said, though, let's take a look at some of the highlights of the racing that has gone on while we bring in our drivers to come and have a chat to us here at ERA. And man, oh man, we've got so much to talk about, so much going on. But let's bring in a driver that's had some of the worst luck, and not too long ago in the season was ready to just throw it all out of the apple cart, was done with it, and just it couldn't go any right. But getting second place, not once but twice. Let's bring in Chris Wall to come and have a chat with us here at ERA. second in the Platinum. Chris, how are you feeling after that, buddy? What a race, and making it 2 second places by the end.
And so, yeah, I mean, but mate, 21st to 13th, I think, qualifying just didn't go well. I just couldn't get a lap in. It was my own fault. And then sort of kept my nose clean during the race start. Had the 10-second penalty to get rid of, so I just tried to outdrive that. Made a few dive bombs, licked a few stamps, sent a few parcels, and yeah, I'm absolutely chuffed with Peter in class. I didn't think a podium was even on the cards today.
And taking a look back to the start of the season not long ago, it just seemed like things wasn't going your way. Are you feeling a bit of a rejuvenation now? The Mustang finally giving you that also confidence that you needed, because you just look a little bit more confident behind the car this time around.
I mean, the confidence has been there all season. I've had my fair share of being involved in stuff I shouldn't have been involved in, I guess. But, if I'm going to be honest, Indy is one of my least driven tracks in the game. I've done, I think, total of 30 minutes practice for this week. I've just not had the time in the rig. So came into this with no expectations. Yeah, I had a bad start to the season, but I think now the pressure's off and I'm just driving for fun. Maybe that's playing a part. I don't know. I just want to say we're on the stream. What a lap and what a drive from Milestone. Absolutely drove the wheels off his Mustang. I can't remember where he finished, but I saw his quali lap. That guy's rejuvenated at the minute, and yeah, just well done to him, I think. But no, I'm just driving for fun, Stephen. It's turning up on a Sunday, having a laugh with the team, and just hopefully getting a result at the end of it. But no pressure if not.
Well, you're moving up in the top 10, and that is for certain in the championship, and honestly, some great running there. Before I let you go, anything you'd like to say to all the admin here at ERA, to all the partners here at ERA, and most importantly, I think you'll agree with me, all the amazing petrol heads that lined the grandstands here at the Brickyard, Indianapolis.
Well, as always, a thank you to everyone behind the scenes who does the work. And the people who turn up to watch the streams, because in the end of the day, that's why that's why we do the stream, so people can watch it. So just a thank you for everyone, and your efforts do not go unnoticed and unappreciated for everyone that does work behind the scenes as well as yourself, Stephen.
Thank you very much, but go and enjoy the champagne. You earned it here at Indianapolis. Wait, no, it's Indianapolis. You got to go and enjoy the milk.
Well, it'll be Paul making me do even more shots. That's the problem. So I need to go and buy myself some tequila. So yeah, if I'd known I was P2, maybe I'd have slowed down and let Nicholas past. My liver won't thank me. But yeah, thanks, Stephen, and I'll let you get the next driver up.
Absolutely, Chris Wall going and putting in such a stellar drive on that one, and managing to lock in that P2. We're going through a couple of the drivers here. We're going to bring in second of our goals, and that has to go to David Roth, who put in an immense fight. Once we're done with him, we'll move on to our diamonds that are going through. So our platinum, second of our platinums, David Roth, to come and have a chat to us. David, welcome to the commentary box. What a race out there. You and Milestone did not leave each other's side throughout the race. How are you feeling?
I feel pretty good. I think Miles just drove the pants off that car. It was work to catch him. And even the 2 times that I did catch up, I just couldn't make anything happen. That Mustang is a rocket ship in the straights. But the car felt good. I was pretty confident in it. I was a couple tenths off, practice race pace. But racing in dirty air, it adds variables, And then when you're in traffic for the first couple of laps, you really got to play it safe. But I'm happy with that result. I was kind of nervous going into it because I knew Miles was very fast, but I think it was a good result.
Oh, absolutely stellar result, that's for certain. The 4.8 really was on the leg. What was the plan coming in for the pit stops? I mean, that is always a difficult one, especially Indianapolis, a very high degrading circuit on tires.
I was planning to follow Miles just to keep with him the entire time. But we got caught behind a back marker, and it cost us around 6/10 over the course of a lap. And I was hoping that if I could get in early, get a good clean lap in clean air, I'd come out in front of him. Unfortunately, I butchered my my braking marker into T1 when Miles was coming out, because I would have been right in front of him. And with the pace that I had, I probably could have stayed in front of him too. But I mean, that's just a skill issue, right?
It was still incredible to see the racing out there, and David, hats off to you on a stellar drive here at Indianapolis. Before I let you go to enjoy the milk here at the Indianapolis, anything you'd like to say to all the admin in the background, to the partners here at ERA, your competitors, the teams, and most importantly, the fans that lined Indianapolis today cheering you guys on?
No, I mean, same thing I say every time I'm in here. Thank you to the admins, the stewards, everybody that makes this possible. Anybody watching who wants to get in on the action, come on in. We'd love to have you. We always welcome new faces, and we're always here to help you get faster. That's what we do. And then thanks to you, Steven, for being a fantastic announcer. You do such a bang-up job every week.
Thank you very much. Still lots to learn. I did see the little note where you've said, Miles, get good. Next one, I'm got you. Is that the note I'm meant to read? Oh, I wasn't meant to do that on air. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, I mean, I think he took that to heart, he got good. He got real good.
Well,
I'm very impressed with the improvements that he's made over this week.
Well, let's see how next week goes. David Roth, congratulations on that beautiful second place.
Thank you, Steven.
Well, second place of the gold, and let's bring in first place of our platinum. Tomo Milani is coming to have a chat to us, and we'll move on to our diamonds. Tomo, welcome to the commentary box. What a race. Nice, easy run leading out from the class, start to finish. That Lexus was running pretty clean. How are you feeling?
It was anything else but easy, to be honest. Especially when that lap one torpedo broke the car a bit, and it was kind of hard to turn after that one. But yeah, I'm thrilled. The result was amazing. The qualifying was a bit slow for me, but decent results split-wise though on P1 on qualifying. But congrats to Miles though. It was amazing lap he did on the qualifying, and great win on the gold one. The race itself, yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, and the rest of the race, just driving through all the conditions and getting to fight out with Sean Skitter, take us through.
Yeah, race was hard, but fun though. It was interesting to watch Miles and David's battle early on the race. It was really interesting to see those two battling it out, and I managed to pass them on the pit stops, but after that one I had great battles with Skitty for the rest of the race, and it was interesting to watch the top three fight as well, like a few seconds behind them, and it had some drama in the end.
Absolutely great stuff. Well, Tomo, before I let you go and enjoy the celebrations, taking the win, how do you, I mean, it's just a world of emotion that's going through, going and scoring and yet another win. Anything you'd like to say to the ERA admin, to all the teams, the drivers out there, to our partners here at ERA, and most importantly, the petrol heads that just come in every single time cheering you on?
Thank you for everyone who is joining these races. You are the ones who make this special, and thank you for everyone who is behind the scenes for working hard. And thank you really much for you, Steven, for commenting on these races.
Well, Tomo, thank you very much for all the racing, and we look forward to seeing what you can do coming into round 6 as you maximize the points for the platinum.
Yeah.
That being said, let's go and bring in, they've been waiting such a long time, and we do have Miles in as well to have a chat with us, but we are going to first bring in second place that took it with the final 2 corners to get himself back into the running order. Let's bring in the likes of Chris Peterson. Mr. Peterson, welcome
Hello.
to the commentary box. And man, oh man, are we... Okay, first of all, take us through the start of the race before we get on to the heist of the century.
Yeah, the start was decent, I guess. I wasn't sure if Steve Milano James would be side by side into T1. I basically like switched to the left in the last moment, I guess, if I remember correctly. And then this time I didn't go for the low fuel stint that I did last time. So, but the pace was still very good. And in the end, I kind of regretted it because I think if I would have gone with a bit less fuel, then I maybe could have avoided the last 20 minutes of the race. But on the other hand, it was really intense racing.
It was absolutely nose to tail on the way through. And your battle with Shooten, it was crazy. Jens Elson on the back of you. What was running through your head as all three of you were together?
Well, I'm drenched in sweat, so yeah. I was not focusing on Nilsson a lot. I was kind of course, like in some braking zones when I decided to go side by side or wanted to go side by side with Schouten, I was also looking behind. But I was kind of gambling that he wouldn't dive or profit from mistakes I make that quickly. In the end, it happened. Like I didn't have enough space in the one braking zone after the back straight, and then he went by in the S's. It's really difficult for some reason if you're on the right side of the S's. I was one time side by side with Schouten too, and I don't know. I can't stay side by side there for some reason. Maybe it's something I have to learn, or maybe it's just more difficult on that side. I don't know. But yeah, then lost the position, and in the end, I just got lucky that they had a problem in the last corner.
Well, take
Yeah, I
us...
was, of course, really happy about that.
Yeah, take us through what went through the cockpit when suddenly you had Jens Nelson into the side of Shooten and you had the opportunity to claim that third place right at the last. Was it a sense of just go quiet? Was it just screaming and shouting? What happened at that precise moment?
Honestly, I don't remember what I said, but you don't really think in those moments. I was just seeing that he slightly spins and that Nilsson is very close to him. And then I saw my ACC Drive app call yellow flag, I think already. I'm not sure if it was a yellow actually. It's kind of blurry, but slowed down, tried to go around the outside, just about made it, and then just prayed that I would win the drag race against Schouten.
Well, it was absolutely great stuff. Well, before I let you go to enjoy the celebration and take you away the bronze, first time actually not going and scoring a win this season thus far. Anything you would like to say?
That's not true. Kota.
Yes,
I got
Kota.
P6 at Kota.
Yes, I forgot about that one. Anything you would like to say to all the admins, to the stewards, to all the partners here at ERA, and most importantly to the teams, the drivers, and the absolute petrol heads out there in the virtual grandstands?
Keep improving, keep pushing, keep practicing, because there were some drivers, I won't say any names because I think you know it yourself, but there were some drivers that really overperformed and were really improving throughout the whole season now. And I think that's good. Like other drivers should look at that and see what did they do to improve. Maybe ask them, maybe get in touch with them if they want to improve themselves, because I'm seeing a lot of progress in this league, and I think we have some very promising drivers here that will be in my split very soon, I guess.
I have to agree on that one.
And yeah, everyone else keep watching. Steven, keep commentating. I'm enjoying it every time, and see you next time.
Absolutely great stuff. Christoph Peterson taking that third place with the heist of the century on the final corner. one person that's been waiting some time, and then we're going to move on to our gold, the winner of our golds. We're going to bring in our first of our diamonds, and that is Ernest Lundberg's going and taking the gamble. Ernest, welcome to the commentary box, taking the overall win with a monster gamble. How are you feeling? We saw the little jig at the end.
Yeah, let's go. Finally. Didn't screw it up. I didn't screw it up. Yeah, let's go. Yeah, I'm happy.
Off the start of the race, it was going. What was your thoughts when you were coming up in this race? What was the game plan of handling Indianapolis in the 488?
Well, my game plan was quali P2. Peterson gets 15 seconds. I finish P1. Profit. Easy game.
All right, simple, keeping it that way. Take us through the race. What was the mentality going through? Because it just looked like absolute concentration. A few mistakes we could see starting to creep in, but no shake of confidence on the way through.
Yeah, I was a bit worried with Milano James slotting in front of me, but when I saw that Peterson was only about 7-8 seconds ahead of us before the pit stops, I was pretty calm. I pitted before Milano James to get in front of him because I saw that I had more pace, and it did work out. If I ended up a second ahead of him after the pits, and that's where I stayed. Even till the end.
That's it. Finally getting that win, and especially here at Indianapolis as they're getting ready for the Indy 500. I mean, seeing that checkered flag, the meaning of Indianapolis, and knowing that such a prestigious event is coming up next weekend, what does it mean to you to get the win here tonight?
Well, for me, it's pretty special because almost a year ago, when I first picked up the 488, Indianapolis was the first race I ever drove in it, and that was the first race in Server 1 as well, and it's pretty special to come back here and actually win the thing.
Well, that has definitely been exciting. Anything you'd like to say to the partners, to everyone in the background, to all the drivers, the teams, the fans that cheered on to see you finally reclaim that top spot here at Indianapolis and bring the 488 to the top and finally get that bottle of milk to chug on the Brickyard for the win here at Indianapolis for the ERA Sunday Championship?
I think it's always important to just keep pushing, even if you think all is lost. Nothing is lost. You can crawl back and still rise on top.
Absolutely great stuff. Ernest, go and enjoy. It's great to have you. There we go. Love the celebration and absolutely well deserved to get it through. Now for a driver that many people have been waiting for a long time to chat and a long time to see, that went and broke the internet on a qualifying and eventually getting the win in the gold. Miles Stone, my heavens, take us through that qualifying because the theories are running wild.
Oh man, the lap was just so honestly, I just felt in the flow. I remember I just kept on focusing, everything just tuned out my ears. The sounds I was just feeling on rails on the Indianapolis by itself is a very, when you get online and when you get the corners right, it just feels like you're floating, and I was floating everywhere, just keeping on the lines. Almost I've practiced so much in this week. I was trying to get as good as a quali I could get. At the start, I was a bit far away, but I just practiced the last 2-3 days, just quali, just put it in laps, stints. I remember yesterday until late at night, I was doing stints. Every stint, I was I gotta know what to do. I gotta find what I'm doing correct and what I'm doing wrong. But I didn't think I would actually achieve that in the actual quali on Sunday. It was just such a perfect, not perfect, but for me it was on my limit. I was there. I just felt it. And got so excited. I remember like my heart started beating fast at the last corner when I saw the delta go green, 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 and like I knew I was gonna do like a really fast lap. Oh my.
Well, it didn't stop there because your race with David Roth right through was just nose to tail, the two of you trading blows. I mean, that must have been nerve-wracking, knowing that your championship at the moment is in for a fight, a fellow American going and duking it out for that top spot, and especially here at Indianapolis as everyone gears up for the Indy 500, and you guys are fighting out for the gold straight through for an hour's worth of racing. Take us through that, just the battle that you had with him.
Oh my. Like I know David personally, and he's such a good friend, and it was so nice. Like me and him were actually talking to each other during the race, and we were saying like, this is really fun. Like this was one of the most fun races, even though we were like, you know, not really side by side fighting all the time. Like through the first stint we were close to each other, and through the second stint we're just trading laps together, trading fastest laps. He was like, "You, what's your fastest lap?" I was like, you know, pushing for a fast lap, and then he pushed for a fast lap. He actually beat my fastest race lap by like 5 thousandths. Like of 35.162 was mine, and for him was 35.157. Like just 5,000, so close to each other. And I remember like we were just so close every time. We were like always within a couple of seconds of each other, and trading like mistakes. Even like I was doing a mistake, he was gaining, and then he was doing a mistake and losing, and then gaining it back. It was so crazy. And like I did a mistake where I punctured my left tires actually too much, because like the first stint I was actually close to Jens Nilsson, and I kind of wanted to see if I could pass, but like I was cutting the last left hand corner so much I kept under like losing pressure, and by the time of end of first stint I was like, my left tires were on 26s, and I think I should have pitted earlier, but I just kept going and lost so much time, and then got some bad blue flag situation. But then thankfully I still came out ahead of David, and we kept on having another good fight again. For the last stint he kept closing in every lap, just pushing me, and I was pushing him and he was pushing me, and always putting in laps. It was such a great race. Like if from the outside it didn't look so stressed, but like we were always just pushing and focusing, and the laps were just amazing.
Oh, no.
It felt the time I didn't feel the 60-minute go. It went so by fast.
It was incredible to see the battle there and getting the win here at Indianapolis. You finally get your hand on the jug of milk and the Brickyard. Anything you would like to say to all the admin, the partners, to all the drivers, the teams, and most importantly, I think you agree with me, all the fans cheering in from the sidelines that definitely had the sign saying over 6,000 RPM, go for it.
Mustang superiority, let's go. I love, as you said, I love the fans, everyone watching, and special thanks to the admin team. What makes ERA, the community, everyone in, just putting their time in, their effort, everyone. The people are what makes ERA great. The community feeling, the friends you make, the admin team putting in time, in the stewards putting in time, and also the drivers. Like we're all technically committing to this hobby together by also respecting each other on the track. Everyone's so respectful, giving each other the respect they get and deserve, and they get it back. Like everyone just putting their time in day after day, and every race, just to give each other the push, the time to practice, the motivation, and the satisfaction to enjoy this hobby, this amazing hobby.
Oh, it's been an absolute banger to have you around, and congratulations on the win. An absolute fight, and Ken Miles will definitely be smiling from the top there for the effort. Mustang superiority, you heard it here for the gold division. Milestone getting the win. Absolutely tremendous stuff. But ladies and gentlemen, it doesn't end there. We are going to be back next week for some great racing yet again for the likes of ERA. We're going to be heading into round 6. So much is going on, and please do head over to our championships. Come and join. Come and be a part of all the action here. not only in sprint racing on a Sunday, but we do have our endurance racing out on Saturdays. We do have training days during the course of the week, and that's what we're all about, teaching you the skills that you can use in the races to go for the wins. Next up, though, we're going to be heading out to Valencia in the dusk, and that is going to be a tough one before we ended out round 7 around Kailami with mixed match conditions. Who knows what it's going to be? 2 mandatory pit stops. Well, you're going to have to keep an eye on that one. Valencia is up next in the dusk, and it's going to be an exciting one. But ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it does bring us to the end of this broadcast, and we'd like to say a massive, massive thank you to you all for joining us. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit the bell notification icon, leave us a like, and let us know what was your favorite part of the race. Who do you think's got the championship as it all spins out of control from every which way possible? And ladies and gentlemen, like always, we'll see you next time. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, everybody, on a stellar Indianapolis, and we'll see you at the Indy 500.